Hey, welcome back, everybody. It's Kristi and Jared, and it is what is it officially? Is this our third or our second
Third?
podcast?
Well,
Third.
we recorded one.
That's
So this would be
true.
our second. So this would be our second. We recorded one with Michael Cremo,
So
which
we've
was
done,
like a 4 or 5 hour long interview.
yeah, for
So
everyone listening, yes, we have
yeah.
5 hours with Michael Cremo, and we're looking forward to releasing that. He has a new book coming out. But officially, we have not had a live guest ever. And with us, we have Simon Laurie King, all the way from Scotland, which for those of you watching live or watching in the future, you're going to know that Simon is doing us a huge solid and he's up extremely late. Simon, how are you?
Hey, Jared, Kristi, thanks very much for having me. I'm very well and very pleased to be here and looking forward to listening to other episodes you guys put out. And congratulations, by the way. Great podcast.
Oh,
Thank you so much. What a reversal. It's like,
and thank
I
you
got,
for joining us. Yeah. I'm like, what? Thank you.
isn't it full circle that we start a new podcast and you had me on as your first guest, and now you're my first guest on my new podcast, on our new podcast.
Yeah, you never forget your first, right?
Oh, that sounds awkward, Simon. You should
I
clarify.
know it does. You can't unhear that. Too late.
Oh, see,
It's like
exactly the kind
toothpaste.
of,
It doesn't go back in the tube. Like once it's out, it's just out.
now it's out.
Right. I guess
Thanks, Simon.
this is my first and last appearance on your podcast, but it's been fun, and yeah, definitely. No, I think because I tune into the RQX on your website, and there's some great stuff on there, and I'm looking forward to what you guys have, what you're going to bring in the future, and certainly to listen to the Michael Cremo interview. Interesting guy.
Yeah.
Very, very interesting and a wealth of knowledge. You could just sit for hours and out, which we did sit for hours and hours and hours and
Yeah.
talk. It was amazing, and he just has answers for everything. It feels like.
Yeah. It was a really brilliant time. It was fun to see him when I was in LA with Catherine Cole and Ian Fisher, and we were I was there with Tess actually. She was also there, who came with us to Belize in our last expedition, and it was a really great time. We shut down 2 restaurants, the Hindu temple that he's one of the managers of, basically, and then we shut down more kind of a bar coffee place, and walked him home. It's a great first date.
Great first date.
So, Simon,
Yeah.
who have you had on? Let's talk for a minute about your podcast. Who have you had on recently?
I had a couple of guys. I kind of was talking about the UFOs that have been, very much in the media, and I had a couple of guys, one from Ireland and one from Britain, and we were talking about that. So those are the last couple of episodes. As you know, Jared, we talk about different things. Talking to interesting people is the genre, but at the moment the flavour is what the hell's going on. And
Yes.
I had a video taken. I had a video taken down off of TikTok. It was breaking social, how they put it,
Guidelines.
Right,
Mhm.
right. And because obviously I'd said drones and this, that, and the other. And now remember, this isn't the law. It's not against the law to say that, but to me, it just underlines, confirms that it's actually a thing. Where a few years ago, people would roll their eyes and laugh at you and say, yeah, whatever. But no, you can't say that. You'll get the video taken down. So long answer there, Jared. But we talked about UFOs and drones, and that's that. But obviously, I need you to come on the show, you guys, and we'll talk about other stuff.
Yeah,
All
Kristi.
kinds of other things, but just speak to the UFO drone thing because I'm super obviously into that stuff. You're right. I am seeing, and now what's so crazy is just since the switch of whoever owns TikTok now, I haven't done the research. I don't really know. But it seems as though people are like urgently putting messages out there on TikTok now. They're urgently putting messages out there and they're like, I'm being watched. This is going to get taken down, but I need you to know this and this and this before it gets taken down. You know, people are trying to get information out the only way they know how, as fast as they can before they know they're going to get shut down. And so, like you said, Simon, to speak to what you just said, if they're taking these videos down and they're shutting people down and we're being shadow banned, then there's something there.
Massively. I can't see why it's not sedition. We're not being racist. We're not calling for violence. We're just saying, look, what's that in the sky? I had the job I do. Jared will tell you, I drive for the night. A lorry driver. I drive truck, and a friend of mine, ex-military, who works in the same company. So he was a career soldier of over 20 years. Rang me and said he's just pulled over on the side of the road and he's seen something being followed by a helicopter flying around it. Now that's a trained observer. That's a guy in the military who knows stuff, seen stuff, and even he didn't know what it was. Now I can't see how that, if I put that on TikTok, how that is worthy of a ban. So that to me underlines the point that there is something going on. That's absolutely something going on. We're not going to let you talk about it because something's going on. I don't get the whole thing. You're not doing anything illegal, so why would they? It sounds conspiratorial, doesn't it? What are you hiding? You're not allowed.
It does.
You're not allowing me to say something, right? I refuse to call it Dior bags. I'm not 5 years old. I call it for what it is. It's unidentified. Seems to be flying, and it's an object. I refuse to, call it blue rabbits or whatever. No, it is what it is. So if it is something nefarious, then it underlines the point when it stops people talking about it. Just saying.
So I haven't brought this up yet. We've had a busy day, but Kristi, our last show that we did with Wayne from Michigan UFO sightings, they haven't. So for everyone listening, RQX, it's a new podcast, but it's a bunch of old people as far as Michigan UFO sightings, Not Aliens, my channel, Michael Roser's Dark Hour, and Kristi is new to the group. But the reality is that Kristi and I are doing this podcast every week. And our last one was to get the word out on Michigan UFO sightings. A lot of people listened. However, I got an email today which said that because we showcased a news source about these exact UFOs, Simon and Kristi, so they said it was a copyright infringement, and so they yanked our podcast from Not Aliens today. So it's on our website. So one of the reasons everyone watching, listen,
you're just
please.
now saying something about this?
What?
You're just now saying something about this.
I'm going to, Simon, now that we're live, there are so many things I'm now going to only reveal while it's live to Kristi. I'm going to come up little presents, little mental presents that you can open on air.
Great. Yes, I'm so looking forward to this. I love the surprises.
Well, they're not all going to be like clandestine. Maybe there was again, it was a copyright violation. Wayne, Michigan UFO sightings have used this news source many times, and specifically, it's apparently just the news source said that it was a copyright infringement. If we remove that part, we'll be fine. But it has not. I talked to Wayne today at Michigan UFO sightings, and that did not hit them. So our podcast that Kristi and I did with Wayne is still up at Michigan UFO sightings, but Not Aliens, it's been pulled down. And so we've already been, we're getting our street cred. We're already getting banned here and there.
Yeah, that's when you know you're on to something, right, Simon? That's when you know you're on to something.
Yeah, 100%. It definitely is. I think we, the people, have a right to know what's going on and to be treated like children and to be told that this is what you're allowed to talk about. Again, I'll underline, we're not talking racism, we're not talking sedition, we're talking pointing to the sky and say, what's that? And to be told, no, you're not allowed to talk about it because we will stop you talking about it is tantamount to bullying or Big Brother, fill in the blank. I don't get it. It just absolutely highlights it. Okay, let's turn it on its head. Kristi, first of all, what's going on as far as you're concerned? Because one of my guests said, which is quite scary, could be created by AI, kind of like AKA Terminator. But in your opinion then, if you don't mind, what do you think is going on with these things?
So I actually just today saw an article that was released that Trump has partnered with all of these these 3 tech companies, and now they are going to install like an AI infrastructure in the United States, obviously for our protection. And so it's begun. Like, I mean, don't we find it a little bit odd that, on all these social media apps, it was like we were talking about AI for so long, and then it was just, it was like overnight. All of a sudden, it's like meta everywhere, just to ask AI everywhere. And it was insanely fast, like introduced to the public. It was just overnight. All of a sudden, it was just everywhere. And so I don't know. I just think that the future is, I don't know. I think it all ties in. I think, just like we were talking about backstage and a little bit yesterday, Simon, I think it all kind of ties into consciousness. I think everything points back at some point to consciousness. And there's so many different pieces of the puzzle. You've got the UFO situation, and then we've got the consciousness situation in this group of this huge segment of humanity waking up to reality and the truth, and then we're getting shadow banned and shut down for speaking out, and so it's kind of like you want to know, but then you get your hand slapped every time you try to share information. So it's, I don't know, who's in on it? I feel like everybody's in on it. All the countries are in on it. I don't know. And I don't know what to believe. And, just like Simon, just like you said, it's not free speech anymore if we're getting shut down for saying the word drone or orb.
Yeah, but let's remember, this is not any laws being broken. Okay, this is not any law. Now, if you want to come to my house, or I want to come to your house, Kristi, or your house, Jared, yeah, there's rules. We have to abide by those rules. I get that. But it's been dressed up as a law. It's not a law. No law, no statute has been passed that you can't say the word drone, UAP. Freedom of expression, however, is a right. So if we want to make, a statement about, like your podcast, guys, about that. I mean, Jared and I have talked endlessly about certain things, and I quote you all the time, Jared, say, well, you forget aliens, maybe it's an offshoot of society. A friend of mine's written a book, Not Aliens, Worse It's Us, and he suggests maybe, just maybe, it's us that went to ground, and we've still gone to ground. But I just think it's a really despicable thing to stop people talking about that. When you're not breaking the law, and you feel you're doing something wrong, and you're not breaking any law, that's where we come to, and I think it's despicable.
Yeah.
Personally. So what do you say, Jared, about that?
Well, like you said, we've talked hours endlessly about it, and I agree with you, and that's just seems like it's even the tip of the iceberg. If we have, surviving apocalypse, pre Younger Dryas, pre-biblical flood, advanced humans that are here, and it seems to be pretty bad that if they're here, then they're not helping us. I mean, there's a thing we could, we've never done it. We've never actually had a show, Kristi. I've never done a show where all we do is just bitch about the fact that we have advanced people around us that could just do or say anything to help us, and they don't. Doesn't that suck?
Yeah, but no, I don't think that are you referring to like the extraterrestrials around us that could be helping us that aren't?
Well, so like the premise of my book, there could be space traveling anthropologists, but then there's also all the indications of a priorly advanced human race, which included biogenetic engineering, which means that if they wanted to look gray, if they wanted to look like reptilians, if they wanted to look like Scooby-Doo, they could change their physical appearance. But these are talking about humans that are integrating into advanced quantum-like machinery and UFO technology that we think is from outer space, when in reality, based on the trilithons, the megaliths, and all the ruins, there is a society that was using energy technology, frequency technology. They clearly understood subatomic technologies. And so you have, like Cremo has already pointed out, there's millions, tens of millions of years of human history that we don't have on the books. So what if at some point a global human advanced society that could integrate biologically and and with, they wouldn't have they wouldn't have a cell phone. It just was on board. It was just part of their consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
And so when it all fell apart, if a few of them survived, or hundreds or thousands of them, ultimately when they're integrated with these technologies, these 0-point turn UFOs or whatever, they could easily adapt their biological, what we would appear as not looking like we do now. They could look like grays. They could look like different colored aliens. They could look like reptilians. They could do anything with their physical appearance because I think they've been manipulating. I mean, that's the thing I went on in Animal about, was just manipulating, whether it's things we see as in nature, the forest, the trees, whatever. But in reality, when we look at the ways that the way frequencies and energies hit plants and trees, and how people already have feelings for, hugging trees. It seems like a kind of a corny metaphysical thing, but the reality is there's something to it in that when we step on the ground, there's
I don't know that it's, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I don't know that it's just metaphysical. I think it's an energetic exchange, because those trees are living and we are living, and we're living beings. Their trees are living. When you hug a tree, there is an energetic exchange that happens.
Yeah.
So it's more than just being a tree hugger.
No,
there's life and intelligence in that plant.
Yeah. Well, Peter Mulholland's book, The Secret Life of Trees, the roots interconnect. They feed each other. They talk to each other. They release pheromones in the air. They can warn of locusts, and the trees interspecies communicate. And in the world where there was sequoia, in a world where we have no genetic evidence for that, but that electron exchange when we're barefoot on the ground, and we're like, oh, there's an energy exchange with the earth, and we think it's random. And I think that was part of a system where we could just collectively maybe even sense or speak with what we think is, we've mystified it now, and we think of druids, and we think of sorcerers and witches and things like that. But the reality is that we may have been that advanced that we were able to do all these things. And so I've just speculated that, there's aliens, but what would be worse is if a large group of priorly advanced humans that had all these abilities that are almost like, magical, are now not helping us recover from, I don't know, cancer or whatever. Instead, we're here scrounging around the surface, and these crafts and these things we see, maybe some of it's reverse engineered military, and some of it is really advanced ancient humans that just don't want to bother with us scurrying around. I don't know. I'm getting dark again.
I don't know. What are your thoughts on that, Simon?
I concur with Jared, because if you look, the common one is people refer to Atlantis, but there's been a few different myths. One of them would be the land of Mu. I mean, the KLF, blessings upon them and their memory and their music, which was awesome, by the way. The ancients of Mu, a mythical place, a land, a society around 12,000 years ago, it was said, in the Pacific or in the Pacific region, that disappeared. So same story. So let's just say, and they lived apart from the simpletons, let's say, and these were the people that gave technology to the Maya, to the Toltec, to the Olmec, and they were told legends about it. So let's say the Younger Dryas happened and they went to ground, and they're still going to ground now. So they're living separately from the human race. It's just one hypothesis. So they've always lived separate from the human race, from the simpletons, and those are the craft you're seeing that the Congress were talking about. The witnesses, both current serving military personnel, pilots, Navy pilots, and former intelligence analysts and operatives. And you're talking craft that accelerate to 22,000 miles an hour. Now, they evade every single military, so I understand, in the world. So they're not from around here. Now, I concur with Jared. Whoever they are, wherever they're from, they're choosing to do nothing about the status quo. So I'm not one for, let's form a drumming circle, let's have a galactic federation. I'm not up for that. Either help or go away. My biggest fear is that they're not spacefaring conquistadors, because if you know your history, the conquistadors in South America, that didn't end well. So what do you think about that, Kristi? Am I being paranoid, or is that going to struck a chord?
I don't think there is such a thing as paranoia at this point. Like, I think it's really more about acceptance of whatever is. You know, I think that we're way past the point of being paranoid. I think that it's whether it's aliens or Sasquatch or, you know, whatever, fairies or whatever other realm species may exist, like we're far beyond being paranoid. I think at this point, it's just an acceptance. And I think that's what the government needs to understand is I think that the more open they are with the public about what's going on, I think they would find that there would be more acceptance because people, I think in general, are starting to realize that there's more than just us out there.
Yeah. But what I see in society at the moment, I think I might lose signal in a minute. If I do, we will catch up again. Blessings on you. But what I'm seeing at the moment in the world is the kings and the queens of the world gathering, you know, the captains of industry, the big show, this, that, and the other, and we are at a point where we can't talk about what we're talking about, or at least it's discouraged. It hasn't broken the law yet, but that's where we are. You know, everything is a big show time, you know, and there's things that we are discouraged about talking about. That should be the greatest thing ever to happen to humanity, but now rather than being ridiculed, it's like you will not talk about that. It's like being a naughty child. You get a slap on the back of the leg. Something stinks about this, right? This is what our American cousins would say. Something stinks about this, you know, and whether
badly.
It, right, absolutely, Kristi, and it doesn't ring true. And if it's absolutely a thing, it can't be denied. We're discouraged about talking about it, and we have a right to know. For those of us who've always thought, well, you know, the vastness of the expanse of, you know, forever. If you think about that, you know, space expands. Well, how can something goes on forever expand? But that's a different thing for a different show. But something is very wrong with this world. And like I said,
no. What you just hit on, though, Simon. I hate to interrupt you, but what you just hit on is one of the biggest questions that I have. Is so the accepted theory is that we're expanding. Space is expanding, right? The universe is it's what are we expanding into?
Exactly. How can infinity expand? What does it expand into exactly? That is exactly
what are we?
As well.
Yes. What are we expanding into?
Exactly. It makes no sense as in nonsense. It's like we came from monkeys. And I'm sorry if there is anthropologists listening to this. I don't think that. I don't even want to talk about it at all.
No, you're right.
Sorry. I know you're not going to invite me back, but I'm back myself. Sorry.
That was good. No, why discuss it?
I forgot one plug, so I'm fixing to run and grab it real fast.
You forgot. All right. Well, Simon, we'll just have to chat while she's running. From the guest list that you've had recently, who's been your favorite lately? So, for everyone listening and want to chime in, this is ArchaeoX. This is Kristi and Jared. We are doing shows every Wednesday between 7 and 8 Central is our start times. Then right now, our first live guest ever. We've pre-recorded with Michael Cremo, but we have Simon Laurie King in Scotland live, and we are talking not only with Simon about some topics right now, but we are happy to say that we're going to have Simon back on for a solid show with some visual aids and a sort of other things. But anyway, and one of the things, if you're just joining us, was we were talking about Simon's podcast has had a tremendous amount of very interesting people on. And yeah, back to my question, which was, have you had on anyone recently that has surprised you or was extremely, I don't know. Everything we do is interesting, so I can't say like, is it more interesting than other things, but kind of along those lines.
Well, I think one from probably last year was the Reverend Jason Bray. He's the vicar of Wrexham, and he's an exorcist. So that was quite interesting.
All right.
And that was good. I've had a couple of men of the cloth. One was actually Jason Bray, and the other one his name escapes me at the moment. He is a Catholic priest, and he helps people the past. It's almost like he's like a clairvoyant. The name escapes me. That's been put on the spot here. But yeah, Jason Bray, that was a good one. an exorcist. He had some quite good stories to share, and of course yourself. We did. When did you come on the show last? That was it 3 months ago, 4 months ago? Sure, it was.
Yeah, we do something after I went to. We did something after I went to Belize, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
That's
So
right.
this is our last trip, Kristi, and I think we just touched base about going, and then we were going to do maybe some of the. I don't know, some of the pictures and stuff like that. But this would be way better, Simon. We could, Kristi and I can load some photos, and we can talk with everyone and show you some of it.
Yeah,
I'm excited about
idea.
your podcast, both of you. Do you both have you both visited Belize, Kristi and yourself? Have you?
Yeah,
I have.
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, you have. Yeah.
Yes, I went in May, and it was amazing. I had no idea all of the facets that went into this project before it started. I didn't know until I got there. There were so many moving parts and pieces, and I got there and kind of just jumped in and did what was needed. But it was an amazing experience. But Simon, I have a question for you. So, how do you relate consciousness to what we're seeing right now in the world, like what's happening with the UAPs, UFOs, these plasmoids? I mean, just just all the weird things, because as you know, and you can probably feel it as well, I think that, the more you wake up, the more empathetic you become, and you start feeling and sensing energies and shifts and changes on the planet. So how do you relate consciousness to what is happening right now?
I think consciousness to me is not being awake, being a night worker. Awake might be a language thing. Awake is very important. Sleep to me is very important. I get very little of it. To me, consciousness is being aware of your surroundings, aware of yourself, how you feel, being aware of what is true and what is not true. And it's an ongoing thing from the time we are born to the time we leave this life. That would be my short answer, I think. That to me would be the answer to that one. How do you define that?
I don't know. I'm just trying to figure out exactly what consciousness is and how it operates within this physical universe. Like, I think it's just complex and hard to understand, and we can't put our fingers on it, but I think everything's interconnected.
Well, how about this? How about this? In my experience, in my opinion, that is. I'm not saying it's right, but it is for me. My living didn't start in this life, nor will it end here. So what we do here is important. Nothing to do with Mr. and Mrs. God, all to do with ourself and how we perceive things in reality. So to remember that our life didn't start here. Yes, we were born, but what looks out behind our eyes is a lot older and comes from somewhere else. And we keep that in mind, then our life will go easier, and our awareness will become easier. Just saying.
Yeah.
That's a perspective shift for a lot of people, because there's so much programming and like cultural programming and childhood programming, and of course you've got ancestral DNA and all that fun stuff that we get to work through. But
but that's snake oil salesman right there. If they're onto something good, Jared will tell you this. There's always people trying to put you off. You can't do this. You couldn't do that. Or you might as well go with everybody else. Don't. No. If you've got the bit between your teeth, if you believe, if you know that you have the truth, go with it. Just go with it, regardless of what other people think. So if your awareness and your consciousness, your awareness around you of what you know, be aware that there are in my opinion, many diversions to where you should be and where you want to be. That's what I think. That's what I think. But Jared and I have talked about this for hours and hours. There's so many diversions. It's easier to give up. It's easier to give up and just follow the crowd. But that's not the right thing to do. Nothing that's ever worth it is easy. Jared?
Yeah, I don't think anything is. I think. Well, I obviously we agree on this, and it's hard because I think, Kristi and I have talked a lot about this recently, Simon. Just there's, accepting when you break through barriers and when you do new things, it's a lot easier to be complicit or complacent or be stuck, and it's comfortable too, because it's hard when you're waking up or when you're becoming more conscious and when you're doing, there's a million steps, but when you're in that process, it doesn't look familiar. It doesn't even, things that should be extremely comfortable are uncomfortable, and
So uncomfortable.
And so it makes it so much easier for us to turtle back or to just do something self-sabotage and just go backwards and stay totally asleep or just partially awake or just, I'm walking in the shadow of awareness, but I'm not going to step into the light.
Oh, I like that. I like the way you put that. Walking in the shadow of awareness, but not going to quite step into the light yet.
Yeah.
That takes courage and bravery. It takes a lot of to just, because you're going against the grain, you're going against the majority, and a lot of times you're going against your family values and the way that you were raised. And so it's hard to step out and be the one to say, hey.
So, okay, I'll give you a question, because I'll need to go in about 10 minutes. I'll give you each question, if you don't mind. Kristi first. What's what in your wish list? What would it be for either consciousness or no?
Oh.
Most answered. But
I think you might need to re-ask that one question real quick, Simon. I think we lost you for just a second.
Simon is working in the countryside, and it's been brilliant to have him on. But if we get him back, great. But he is definitely driving. If you can imagine the starlit.
There he is.
Okay.
Okay.
What was that question?
Yeah, sorry, man. I was going to say, because I knew I was going to lose signal there. I was going to ask you each a question. So, Kristi first, if you don't mind, before I go. If you could have one question answered, just one question, what would it be? And then you, Jared.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. What do you think?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you, and I am just puzzled as shit. I am like, I have so many questions. I would probably ask.
You still there, Jared?
Explanation of reality. Like, I think that's what I would want. I just would want an overall, I just want an explanation of reality.
Okay. That's a pretty good question. Simon, were you asking me?
Yeah. I was asking you and Kristi. It just went completely quiet there after I asked the question.
That's because I couldn't formulate an answer in my mind. I was just thinking so many questions.
There is such a thing as dramatic pause, Simon, and she executed it flawlessly.
All right.
But
I do a lot
of that. Look, I don't know. And Simon, I want to hear your answer to this question after I'm done, okay?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm stuck between a couple. I'm stuck between wanting to know.
You don't get to do that. You don't get to do that. He said one question.
I like your answer is what I was going to say.
Guys,
at the same.
I'm losing you.
Okay, we'll speed up.
Okay. All right. So then the other thing is I would want to know if individual life was eternal.
Oh, that's a good one.
Guys.
Simon?
This is really bad timing because I haven't heard any of your answers. I'm just getting, I think, I'm gonna have to go because the signal's breaking. The most interesting part, the question I wanted answered, I just haven't heard anything of it.
I said I want to know if individual life was eternal.
Oh, wow. Yeah. What did Kristi say? What was Kristi's answer? I didn't hear that.
Kristi said something to the effect of "tastes great, less filling."
Tastes great, less filling. What the one question she would like answered?
No, she had a great. I told you. What I said earlier was I had a hard time. I thought her question was like maybe the right one to go with. Right. But Kristi, repeat what you said, please.
I have a million questions. So it's really hard to just.
Oh
pick
no, I'm
one.
sorry. I'm sorry. I meant, what was your answer to Simon's question? He didn't hear it.
I'm not
Oh, I
hearing
don't
her
remember
at
what it
all.
was.
I'm not
Can you hear
hearing
right
her at
now?
all.
Wait,
No,
Simon, can you hear me?
I can't hear at all. Yeah, I can
Oh.
hear you, but I can't hear Kristi.
Oh, she's
Huh.
still thinking, but she had given an answer about the question you had asked originally, and we're almost to the end of our times with Simon. You can still hear, right?
Yeah, basically, I think I'm going to have to go because the signal's terrible. Let's arrange a date and we'll talk again, yeah? Thank you so much for having me on your show. Good
Yeah.
luck and blessings to both of you, and look forward to speaking to you again. And thank you to all the audience, and yeah, best of luck to you guys.
Thanks. We'll set
Thank
up
you,
our.
Simon. It was such a pleasure.
Yeah, we'll have you on for a full-on show later, and we'll come on yours.
Yeah, absolutely, definitely so. Thanks, Kristi. Thanks, Jared. Talk to you soon.
All right. Good night, Simon.
Thank you, Simon.
Well, so now we get to get. Now we're not limited to one question. Now we get to go full bore.
Oh,
Go for it.
God. Oh, God. I feel like I've got to adjust the mic for this one. This won't stay where it's at.
I might as well adjust mine. If you're adjusting, I'll adjust.
Yeah, my biggest with all of it is just what the hell is going on? You know, I mean, with everything, we've got AI, we've got UFOs, we've got UAPs, we've got plasmoids, we've got the government half saying that there's something happening, but then also denying it, you know, and then you've got this whole segment of people who seem to know nothing about what's going on, which is really odd to me.
Well, they seem to not care, and they go to a number of chain restaurants, and they have a great life, and they don't have to think about it. They don't have to worry about it. They just need, keep a truck in. So
do it.
No. So here it is. Let's back up. You've mentioned, so I have a mental list of some of the stuff you listed was, phenomena that maybe foreign to the planet or foreign to the dimension. There's the military side of it. There's the clandestine government side of it. Is it one government? Is it more? I mean, there's a lot of layers to that question. And why, this is the thing that always stays in the front of my mind. Why, like you pointed out about AI, and I have the same thing. Anytime something new comes along, why bother to give it to us? And I'm saving everyone the trouble on this one. Every time the general society gets a shiny new nookie or toy or whatever, yeah, I get it. It's a new distraction, but no, but the AI is so much more complicated, and I wonder, do they just weigh how much will it distract everyone more if they have such a great tool? Or why, or of the 7 more people that might actually wake up, it doesn't matter. So they would rather have the toy out there.
I think it's going to be, there's this huge, and I know that you're not on TikTok, so you don't have any idea.
I'll fix that.
That's the place to be. Like I fought it for years, and then I finally gave in and love it because I get a ton of information from TikTok, and it's like real people sharing real information, and so you really get to build a community. It's a really cool thing, and I've only been on it for 2 or 3 months, but it's been really awesome to build that community. But anyways, one of the things that I'm seeing is like people are now urgently putting information out there because they know it's going to get taken down. And it's just like, what is happening? Like the one platform that we feel like we could just get on and sing and dance and be idiots and say whatever. Now we're being smashed for saying things that aren't even wrong. Like we're not even doing anything wrong. We just can't say the word. So here's the code. The code now is like for drones, it's Dior bags. And for orbs, it's Oscar bags. And I think there's another one. I'm not really sure. And I'm pretty sure Bethany Frankel came up with all this stuff, if that's what her name is. She was one of those housewives. I don't know. But anyway, she's super into it, and I applaud her for it. I think it's awesome what she's doing, but it's daily. It's daily on TikTok. People are posting things, and you always kind of have to be like, is this fabricated, or is this legit? But my own mother sent me videos of orbs over her house, of plasmoids over her, and my sister. And so I have like my own family sending me things that are, it's like I can't even deny it. How do you even deny? I'm not going to deny. My mom is one of the most honest people I've ever met in my life. Like I can't. If she's sending me something that she's seeing in the sky, this woman's seeing it in the sky. It's there.
Do you feel like your family? Do you think they're into it on their own, or are they more conscious of it because you got to kind of turn them onto it?
I don't know. I've always kind of been like a little bit of a wild card and a UFO alien. I wouldn't call myself a fanatic, but I would just say I've always been more open-minded. So I always talk about things like these. But, I think my mom is open-minded. So I think that, when she sees things like these or like this, like the phenomenon that, and it's just like Simon was saying, it's not something that, it's like when you hear truth or when you see truth and it resonates, like you can feel it in you, it resonates in a different way than just normal everyday information, right? You hear we are just bombarded daily with information, but when you see or hear something that resonates so deeply that you're just like, I believe that, like that's, but because of that resonation, because of the way that I don't know if it's the how the words reach your soul or frequency or vibration. I don't know what it is, but what I do know is I can feel truth. Like and I think that's kind of what Simon was referring to earlier was, you when something's right or wrong.
Yeah.
We don't need someone to tell us. We don't need the government. We don't need the CIA. We don't need anybody telling us what's right or wrong. We can feel it, and I think anybody that's sensitive to energies, on the planet can feel the shift. And you've got to join TikTok because literally in my feed all the time is constantly people saying the same thing that I've been saying for weeks, if not months. That's something is happening. Like there is some shift that's happening. And, Dolores Cannon, do you know who she is?
No.
So she is pretty a well-known clairvoyant psychic, communicates with interdimensional beings. And she has a lot of really interesting things to say. So if anybody is interested, they should probably look her up and follow her. She has a lot of, and she's like a sage, she's got to be in her 70s, maybe. I don't know, but she's or older, just a brilliant woman. And the things that she says, she gets these downloads and then she shares them. And then when you hear her speak, you're like, yep, I feel it.
So
which I know that you think aliens are just us. But
no, that's the point. Again, there are probably space traveling anthropologists in the entire galaxy and universe. This just, I don't think we're I don't know, maybe we're like the Atlantis or maybe we're like Iceland or Easter Island, or maybe we're like Hawaii in the galaxy, and they pop over here.
What do you think the point? What do you think the point of all of this is? Like Simon asked this question, like if you could ask one question, what would it be? Of all of the questions running through my brain in that moment, one of them was, what is the point of humanity's existence?
So I'm going to answer that question before, I also want to say to everyone, yes, Kristi is right about TikTok, and ArcUX will also be on TikTok. We will be on TikTok, and we're going to do that. But so now, right? What a cliffhanger! Like, what's the meaning of life, the universe, and everything? That's one thing about TikTok.
Great question.
But about TikTok, the everyone knows the answer is 42. Look it up. But
I thought it was 18.
No, the meaning of life.
9.
Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. The
great
the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, which I'm really looking forward to if you get to it. But it's when Douglas wrote this thing, the first book is Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. The last book is So Long and Thanks for All the Fish, where all the dolphins mysteriously and the whales disappear from planet Earth because for years they've been warning humans to like leave the Earth before it gets demolished for a galactic freeway. Not ruining the plot here, but the whole point of Earth was that it was a giant, massive biocomputer answering the question about. It gave the answer of what's the meaning of life, the universe, and everything, and the equation came up with 42 by a prior supercomputer, and then of course it's like, well, wait, what's the actual question? Or so they designed the Earth to answer the question. Why is the answer 42? Of course, Earth gets demolished right after thousands of billions of years is about to come up with the answer, and they get rid of it because even galactic or in the universe, other beings did not want us or anyone to know what's the answer. So that's as far as that got. So what do I think? I wonder. I don't know. Instinctually, do you feel like I don't have a gut? I feel okay. Here's just the emotion on it. Do you feel, I don't feel like it's fake. And I understand that if I'm programmed that way, that'd be one thing. So for all those thinking about a virtual world or anything else, I don't know. I just have this intuition. It's more of an intuition than a feeling that this is not real. This is real. And there's purpose to it. And there's maybe the purpose is how we're also plugged into this potential multi-dimensional universe, so we can't answer the question. What was that? Did I lose you?
Yes, I agree completely. I think that's no. Can you not hear me?
Oh no, you just froze up. It's probably my computer.
Now?
Sorry, folks. But yeah, you think it's
Okay.
Yeah, no, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I think it's I think that what's happening right now is very real. And I think that the more acknowledgement we have of what's happening right now, the more acceptance, like people have to open their minds a little bit, to alternative thinking and perspectives. And I think that, if you could do that, we can make it through it. But I don't think that they're here, honestly. I don't, and I'm not I'm not a mystic or a psychic or a clairvoyant. I don't speak to any, ETs or anything, but I just don't get the feeling that they're here to destroy the planet or start some like intergalactic war. I think that they're here to help. I think that, you kind of mentioned earlier, you said that, what are they here for? Like, what, like what's, I don't think it's nefarious. I don't think it's malicious. I think they realize that we're kind of in a position right now in like as a human race that we're not living like we're supposed to be. Like we're not plugged in the way, we're not plugged into the universe the way we're supposed to be. We're not plugged into the planet the way we're supposed to be. We're not living the way we're supposed to be. We've got so much technology and so many distractions. And we're so disconnected from each other as a human race. Like we're disconnected. Yep. We lack compassion. We lack love. We lack acceptance. We lack all of these things. And there are reasons for that are for another podcast. Yeah. But at the end of the day, when you strip away everything, you strip away religion and you strip away education and you strip away, all of the things that we know, and we're just a human race. Like all that's left there is just love and acceptance. Like if you get thrown into a situation and you've got, if you say 5 people are on an airplane and these 5 people crash, there's going to become sort of like a tribal situation that happens there, to survive. It's going to be a tribal situation, people might get kicked out, if they're assholes, but like
off the island
for the most part, it's a tribal situation. And I think that's the way that we're meant to be. People in other cultures don't live like we do here. No. they have multi-generational families living under one roof, where we are completely separated over here.
Yeah. It's a huge mistake.
So, it's a huge mistake. I think that there's a lot more going on for the reasons why we are the way we are than just. So I think maybe the aliens are here to say, hey, wake up.
Maybe. And that part of that whole thing about what you had asked, and the idea of the more we're maybe leveled up or more conscious, part of the issue is our scope and breadth of what we conceive of, even the question of who, what, where, when, and why are we here. It's difficult to even come up with the questions if we don't have a grasp of the vastness of the if the ocean is our consciousness and you're floating in it, it's more than what we can see and feel. But we don't have it conscious in our mind because it's out of sight, out of mind. But if we were able to actually sense with all of our senses, or some of our senses for some of it and some of our senses for others of it, but if we could sense or see and feel and smell and touch all of the things that are, whether it's coral or sand or a shipwreck or some entity or some creature living in the ocean, if that was an example to the idea of being conscious collectively, conscious with trees and or this organic biosystem, not just changing electrons with the ground because we step on it, but actually, oh, hey, we're getting data, we're getting feedback, and then we're traveling in this universe, this solar system, this galaxy that's spinning, and all of it is coming across frequencies and waves. And so at what point are we conscious enough to the other beings and the other consciousnesses within our own universal dimensions to be able to say, hey, what is the meaning of this, or what does it look like? I think this is it. Maybe another part of saying it is just, we always think globally, and well, if we say universal, it's really in reference to the globe. I think it'd be really interesting if we did start thinking more universally in reference to all of it beyond
this planet.
Yeah. And then maybe in that presence and in that state, and even if we're aware of it, even if parts of it we're only aware at some sense, then maybe what we're actually able to do then is come up with better questions for ourselves and our groups and our I don't know, our covens of intelligence and soul.
Be careful with that.
Yeah,
Be careful with that word, covens. It'd be burned at the stake if it were,
with all this heretical, ungodly science equipment that we're on right now. Yeah. I mean, only the devil came up with this stuff.
I know. Once you step away from all the indoctrination, it's kind of like, whoa, was I blinded? And I think that that's probably some of the problem is, I mean, you know what I mean? Like, there's got to be a separation. There's got to be a point where you step back and you ask yourself, like, I know what I'm reading is supposed to be the all ultimate truth, but sometimes it just doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
And then it turns into a common sense thing. And then you jump in the hole, and then you find yourself, you've turned into a rabbit, and you're just climbing through it.
Yes. Yeah, that's true. So now, I guess for everyone listening, and we have some people on, you know what? I'm going to say hi quick to everybody watching on Not Aliens let me click in, guys. I'm sorry, I haven't said a word. I haven't been able to see it. Michigan UFO sightings and paranormal encounters. Who do we got? Aaron's Energy. Oh, hi, Aaron. Haven't seen you in a while. But yeah, we've been out. And for those who are just tuning in, Kristi and I will be doing this every Wednesday. The ArchaeoX group on archaeox.com. We are streaming on archaeox.com. So for all of you who love your streaming services and your YouTube, what would really be?
Sorry.
Oh,
Go
what?
ahead. I was just reading this real sweet. King James says nobody cares what chicks think. Send her to fetch a sandwich.
What? Oh, Long Island Bigfoot was here.
But his name is King James. So
yep, I'm scrolling down. I just want to say
framework.
hi to Long Island Bigfoot. That's someone who joins us, joins Michael Roser and everybody on and on the expeditions on the East Coast. And let's see,
Oh, here's
King James.
Hey.
So, this is where do I have to moderate something? And Leak Project. Hey, Rex is in here. Who else haven't I said hello to? It's like, well, look, guys, for those who are watching, the fact that we have Wayne and we have Long Island and we have Rex and Leak Project and Aaron's here. King James, I guess you're
He is what he is. He's exactly what we're talking about. It's what he is.
It's great. This is called open dialogue. But yeah, we're gonna be doing this every week on ArchaeoX.
Chicks don't have brains, It's like Roman Catholic Church stuff.
Why is she still talking? The guys, I toe to toe. I mean, we're messing around, but Kristi's extremely brilliant. But the reality is that, we should sometimes keep our inside thoughts on the inside. But here we are. This is open Discord. That's what Discord is. This is what it is. We're in a cosmic salon.
Love it. Yes.
And we're in Paris, and we're sitting with all the other great painters and thinkers and writers and mathematicians, and we're at the cosmic salon just deciding whether or not interdimensional space traveling aliens and or ancient humans are going to help us out of this life loop cycle of
a lot of people are saying that we're shifting dimensions, that there's going to be that there's fixed to be this split in the earth, that there's going to be a timeline split, and the sleepers are going to go this way, and the people who are awake are going to go this way. And so it's going to be subtle differences. So okay. I don't know if I don't really know how that works, but
do you think that they actually physically go in a different direction, or what do you think? I don't
know. I think that every time that we're given an opportunity to make a decision, it could go one way or the other. And I think that maybe sometimes we make both decisions and then we just split, into a different universe. Maybe this time with everything that we're experiencing with the, all of the things that are happening right now on the planet. I don't know. I think that there may be some timeline jump where, we still experience the same people, but just in different ways. I don't know. I have no idea.
Have you felt that in the past? Have you feel like that you've had that experience with anything, things, stuff?
No, not really. I mean, not relative to some of the stories that you hear about people losing hours and hours of time and, jumping timelines like that. No, I've never experienced anything like that. But I do think that there are subtle things that maybe happen that we don't really, that we don't quite understand, that physics doesn't quite explain, that happen. I think that we may wake up some mornings in a different timeline. I think that's part of maybe manifestation. like when you're manifesting things, if I'm manifesting things in my life, maybe I wake up the next day and I've jumped timelines into something that I've manifested. I don't know.
That's true. I mean, you've heard the comment about, or the statement about, there is no past, there's no future, there's only now.
There's only now. Yeah.
There
only
is
the present.
There literally isn't a past, there isn't a future. It's just, this is it. This is the timeline. This is the dimension. This is it. And
time is a construct, is a human construct. Time is a human construct. Like, we made time, we made the calendar. Like, we are abiding, like, January 1st is New Year's. It's not even our real New Year's. It's some other culture's New Year's. It's not even really ours. So we've, like, accepted all of these things and adopted all of these things from all these different cultures, and we call it ours, and we say this is what it is. But time doesn't exist. Time is just no, it's an illusion.
No. You just reminded me of something that I think so in all my research and trying to figure out, like, was there a secret government? Was there, were there different times that we've been influenced? Like, why did Tartaria just get wiped out from our history books? Why is the largest empire from past Mongolia all the way through Greece, the Tartarian Empire, completely deleted from our world history? And one of the things that I've always thought is interesting.
They were enormous. Yeah.
And then what I've always been interested in is the history of the 13th month. So when you say that, the one date isn't the right date, well, so just for everyone, I'm going to read this quick. The 13th month, 28-day alternative has been in use on the planet for more than 6,000 years. In prehistoric India and China and throughout South America, it was standard timekeeping system. The Athenians, the Egyptians, the Polynesians, the Maya, the Inca, the Lakota, and the Cherokee used a 13-month, 28-day calendar. The Celtic knowledge of the Druids is based on the tree calendar, also a 13-month, 28-day calendar. Today, many cultures still, use a 13-month calendar, but, Julius Caesar, the Roman Empire, the whole idea of the 12-month calendar. So it's fascinating to me is that we get in the numerology and we get into, well, this date and this time and this thing, and it's like, relative to what? Because we made up the month. It's
relative to what? That's exactly it. Relative to what?
Yeah, so again, not to put a squash on numerology, it's just that when you use the numbers, they're assigned to something that we made up in a fiction. Now, today is, or this evening, for depending on where you're listening and when, are we in relation to all the stars and the moons and the planets, our solar system, our immediate solar vicinity? Then there's the galactic, and then how we're all spinning. All of that tends to be relative, obviously, any one moment of a day. And we could say, okay, well, the frequency energy from Mars was XYZ, which is why the 13th day of 1974, blah, blah, blah. And that's why the energy was this way or another. But when you start getting into the dates and say this date 1313, it's like, that is all made up. Just not trying to fix anybody here, but it's a tangent.
Just an illusion. It's just an illusion. And when I realized that I went to Ecuador and I spent about 3 weeks in Ecuador and had an experience. And when I got back was when I realized time didn't matter.
Yeah.
Like that experience that I had, it was an ayahuasca experience. And coming home, it was just there were a handful of distinct things that I remember feeling coming back from that and bringing with me back, and time was one of them. It was just one of those, like, time's relative, and it's not just relative to the human race; it's relative to each country. Like, they eat dinner at like 9:00 in Spain. Where if it's 9:00 here, I'm like, it's past my bedtime.
Yeah.
And so it's different. Everything is just relative. Time is relative, and it's all just an illusion. It's all an illusion.
So then you got to wonder if let's go back to Schrodinger here for a minute. If the cat in the box, and if the duality of anything is that it is what it is based on observation, that at some quantum level we have the ability to affect existence just by thought. it means I would think that anything could change in an evolutionary or a dramatic way if we had the consciousness to do it. But currently, it's like I think it takes collectively partially conscious human beings, and whether we do it as a group, we have a belief system, we have whatever it is. I do think that we can move things in the ether by having a large group of people. Any individual can manifest something, but then how much of our reality, if it's only in real time, if our reality is now, there is no past and there's no future, it's relying entirely on each of our individual and then collective bandwidths to say, this is yes, this is a no, this is good, this is bad. And I often wonder sometimes, just wonder whether or not when you have, 100 million or 10 people, how much does it matter the quantity? How much does it matter that each of them is conscious? Do the 10 people manifest something collectively that the 100 million can't? Is it a billion? Is there a minimum number? Do they have to almost consciously chant something? But again, I think we're playing with something subconsciously in the ether, that when we think of Schrodinger's cat in the box, is it dead or alive? I mean, again, when we observe it, it does something different. It was what scared Schrodinger, was that the very observation of these quantum particles, they did, yeah, because you willed it, and that was something that was scary. So that means, what are we doing? What if I just had this thought?
Okay, you go ahead. You share your thought, okay, and then I'll tell you my thought.
So what if the universe as we can see it is just the ever expanse of our collective living consciousness, willpower? What if collectively, and we know there's stars, but what if the idea that there must be stars forever? What if unconsciously, where we are, the point of infinity is that it's just something that we consciously maintain, quantumly, that the whole reason there's an infinity is because we actually can't imagine it ending. What if it's an actual conscious choice? What if our observation,
we can't, we as a human race, can't imagine an end?
Right. So when we look up externally, we look up to the sky. What if ultimately that is a living manifestation of that idea? What if we actually willed the universe collectively into its infinite mass?
Yeah. So what I'm thinking when you say that is, what if? So they say, I don't even want to list all the days that say this, but the universe is inside us, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So if the universe is inside us, and there are, billions of people on the planet, and we're just projecting the universe outside of us, we're all seeing this just huge universe outside of us. And because that's one of the problems I've had is how do you physically connect everything out there with everything in here and in here? You know what I mean? How does this and all of this out here go together? So I think you hit on something there, is I think the more we collectively perceive the universe in a more accurate way, the more we can accomplish as a race.
You got to wonder, what if what we've observed about the quantum universe, about two particles being in two different places at the same time, what if, again, we imagine an infinity,
or being in different forms, depending on if they're being observed or not. Are they in particle form, or are they in wave form? Which just depends. Are they being observed or not?
So for all of the telescopes we're creating that can see further and further, and the size of the universe or the known universe, which, for everyone listening, if this isn't fun or interesting enough, apparently, based on what we've observed, there are still more atoms in a single piece of sand than there are all planets, stars in the known universe, which is crazy.
In a single piece of planet.
in a single piece of sand. A single piece has more atomic structure than everything that we've observed in the sky and in the universe. But you got to wonder, the more we observe, if what we're actually doing is physically in the 3D, just seeing what is actually an objective, an actual physical result, a tangible result of the duality of our minds imagining infinity and the universe, and that duality, the other half of that particle that's existing simultaneously by conscious observation, is what we are observing through the Hubble Space Telescope. We're looking at an infinity that might, we're living in a physical world, but we're looking at conscious manifestation, even though it's a physical thing. Like, we can get in a plane, we can go up there, but it's actually, it's only there because of the duality of that, our very limited understanding of quantum mechanics. I'm not high, everyone. I'm just.
I can never promise not to be, but
yeah.
I'm kidding.
Yeah, we're just kidding.
Or not. I don't know.
You guys decide. We're just moving on. Yeah. So that was okay. So maybe what? Man, we could go down this rabbit hole for a while, right?
For a long time. If we could do this for a long time. What was it we were talking about last night that we were just like, this is podcast material. Why are we talking about this right now?
Oh, yeah. That was we have a lot of these conversations. Apologies. We'll record more of them. And then
yes, we've got to start doing better at making notes. Yeah.
Actually, we should just take notes. That's true. We should just on occasion write down what we're actually brainstorming. Or we're not even trying. We start on a subject, and before you know it, we're making breakthroughs, and we have useful info.
Jumping in all the holes.
We did all the holes, and we should have included all of you. Sorry.
This was a fun one, though.
Yeah. So every week, guys, another reminder, Wednesdays, Kristi and I will be doing this. The ArchaeoX group, Wayne, Michael from Dark Hour, Wayne from Michigan UFO Sightings, and Kristi and I will also be doing a joint show. We don't have a date yet for that, so apologies. You'll have to look for it. You might miss it the first time we go live. In order for us to stream to archaeox.com, we have to, technologies are such that we have to do that within an hour. So we can put even like a banner up, but we're not technologically able to just throw up a banner that can go live. We have to set our shows up. We just have to tell you where they are, and hopefully you'll join us for more. So yeah, I'm sorry. I got in one little gratuitous commercial. And then, hey, do you want to see one of our, I have, for everyone watching, I have we have some pretty cool bumpers. I want to see what you think of one of these technical ones I haven't really run. You want to watch this for a minute?
Are you asking me?
Yeah.
Live right now? You're asking me my opinion live? Okay, shoot.
Yeah. I like danger.
Okay. Let's do it.
All right. Tell me what you think of this quick. I mean, this is what do you think?
Search and rescue of our past.
Yeah. What do you think of that?
That's what the words should change to. Search and rescue of our past.
I think it was. Well, all right, let's do it again. So I think
when it was search and rescuing, it has to be searching and rescuing, or search and rescue.
Let's do it one more time. Hold on. Search and rescuing our past. Yeah. So I wonder if it had to do with like how they sized it.
No, it's just not grammatically correct.
Okay. Well, I needed your opinion right now about that.
Well, so we didn't have to do that live.
No, sure we did. Now we can ask everyone over watching on YouTube. Let's see. Let's check it back in for a minute. Where are we? Alchemy, manifestation is a term used spiritually as elements brought together. Thomas Walker. All right. Theory of relativity. Yeah, crazy. I like the constant requoting of Tesla's comment about Einstein, a fuzzy-haired crackpot. That's what Tesla described Mr. Einstein as. So
I feel like it's like Republicans and Democrats.
yeah, except I mean they didn't strangle, although yeah, they didn't strangle Einstein, just Tesla. So just saying.
Everybody has to go somehow. So.
Yeah, well, apparently he was too close to something.
He was.
We
And
have
he got unalived.
yeah. So for people listening, this is something worth knowing about. Besides Simon Lord King coming back on from Scotland and talking maybe a little more about some of these deeper subjects, he's quite a mind and lives amongst really mysterious megalithic ruins and really ancient stone circles, stuff that definitely hits back to that Stonehenge age. And we're talking like 10,000 years ago and more. But Simon's coming on. We have a great crystal healer and sound frequency healer coming on in the upcoming weeks. We have all the we have all the Michael Cremo footage, interviews, 5 hours that we'll be putting out. And then what else haven't? Mr. Mark Eddy has some guests for us, and we are going to be going on his show with Barbara DeLong, and that will be on YouTube, and we will be chatting about that. In fact, Mark, if you're out listening, yes, you called during the show, but I will call you back. So yeah, back at it. Sorry, another quick update. I just want to get more info out there for people.
Perfect.
So yeah, should we sort of wrap this up?
Let's wrap it up.
Okay, wait, don't anybody leave yet. We have a really cool outro. Okay, hold on. You ready? You ready? I'm not going to go in. Okay.
See it.
Okay, I did that on purpose. That was our intro. I was being gratuitous. Here comes the outro.
I was like, what? No.
Oh my gosh, that's all right. One more time, guys. Here we go.